where we left actually? I think we have started mobility and conductivity, right? We have started mobility and conductivity. Yes or no? Mobility and conductivity is what is the topic we are in. Okay. So the topics that we have already covered are energy band theory of solids, classification of materials based on energy bands, and now we have moved to mobility and conductivity. Okay. Mobility and conductivity. Right. So yesterday itself we have seen charge distribution of metal. Not only metal, in any material, we could see atoms, electrons, okay, positive ions, negative ions. Yesterday we discussed why we could see these positive ions or negative ions, because no material is 100% pure. Okay, we could see in any material two or three different elements, so that their electronic configuration is different. So they may exchange, either one can give the electron or one can take the electron. So accordingly, we may find either positive ions or negative ions, or sometimes maybe both. Okay, and we have understood somewhat drift velocity. Okay, when we consider a metal, when there is no potential difference that is applied, we have understood that electrons will be in random motion. Then how many number of electrons are in one particular direction? The same number of electrons will be in the opposite direction, and on an average, the current will be zero. That is what we have understood yesterday. But when we apply an electric field, that is not the case. So when we apply an electric field, what is likely to happen is that all the electrons that are now being moved will be acquiring a velocity what is called as a drift velocity. Okay. So when the electrons are moving with this drift velocity, which is normally a constant number, then we'll say that current will be moving in the direction opposite to that of the electrons. Okay, and this drift velocity is directly proportional to the electric field. The more the electric field, the more the drift velocity. And if I remove this proportionality, I'll say that the drift velocity is equal to mobility into electric field. Here comes the word mobility. So here, because the charge particles here are electrons, mobility belongs to the electron. So I'll call it as mobility of the electron. So what does the mobility is telling? Mobility is telling that it is a measure of how much ease with which particle can drift due to the electric field. Drift means moving. Okay, how it can move, right? Due to the applied electric field, with how much ease your particle can move is what is being measured in terms of mobility. Okay, so the unit is centimeter square per volt second. Okay, unit is centimeter square per volt second. See, you can get this unit from here only. Mu is equal to Vd by E. Vd is velocity, that is centimeter per second. Electric field V by D, that is volt per centimeter. So when I bring that into the picture, I'll be getting centimeter square per volt second. So this is what is mobility. Okay, right. So we stopped here. Okay, we stopped some of the definitions which will be helping us later on. There we have stopped. Okay, so we will continue from here. Mean free path. Okay, mean free path. The average distance between collisions, okay, is called mean free path. See, collisions will be happening between which particle and which particle? Collisions will be happening between which particle and which particle? Anyone? Collisions will be happening between which particle and which particle?
Oppositely charged.
Not only oppositely charged. Okay, it can be anything. Okay, it can be anything. Suppose if you are having in front of you a negative charge, you assume that you are also a negative charge, but someone else is pushing you very forcefully that you cannot stop yourself. Then what happens? Even though it is a negative charge, even though you are also a negative charge, but you can, there are chances that you can hit that negative charge also. Okay, so here it is not that only unlike charges or like charges, but collision will be happening depending upon how much energy I am having as a particle, so that I'll move in my own direction, so that I'll be getting collided with some other particle that is coming in front of me, so that I may lose some energy, or I may reflect to some other direction, so that still I can travel. So this is what is normally going to happen. Okay. So electron may collide the ion, electron may collide the atom, okay, electron may collide the electron only, another electron, okay. This is how it may happen. Why I am telling is you should have some sort of visualization. Once I said that collision means, have the visualization in your mind that okay, electron is moving from left to right. It may collide another electron that is traveling in front of it, or it may collide an ion that is facing by the electron. It may collide an atom that is it is being when it is looking at when it is traveling towards its own direction. Okay, so this is what you should have some sort of visualization. Particle can collide any other particle. That's what I mean to tell. Inelastic collision. Inelastic collision means it is a type of collision where there is a loss of kinetic energy. I told you, no, how does the electrons are going to acquire drift velocity means I told you that electrons are going to collide the ions and they are going to lose some energy and they are going to travel very slowly to some other distance. Okay, and until and otherwise they acquire some constant velocity with which they can move, they'll be keep on losing the kinetic energy. So that means we can say that electrons are going to undergo inelastic collision when you are applying the electric field. When you are applying no electric field, the collisions are said to be elastic collisions. Elastic collisions means there is no net loss in kinetic energy. Okay, elastic collision means there is no net loss. Okay, there is no net loss in kinetic energy overall. That means though it is losing after collision, again it gains back. Okay, right. Lastly, it is collision time. Collision time means average time between two successive collisions. Okay, right. Okay. So now we are ready to develop some sort of expression for conductivity. So for that we have started with current density. Okay, current density. So I have considered a metal whose area is A, so that because it is a metal only the electrons are being there, and I have applied an electric field, okay, potential V as shown here, and as my V is applied like this, okay, positive here, negative here, my electric field will be from positive to the negative. Okay, and my electron motion, please do listen everyone, when my electric field is from left to right, my electron motion will be opposite to the direction of the electric field. Okay, if my electric field is from left to right, okay, my electron motion will be from right to left. That is why the direction is shown here. The electrons are moving from right to left. Why? Because the electric field is from left to right. So always the direction of electron motion will be in the direction opposite to that of the electric field. Okay, right. So and you know that current is always defined as the current motion will always be in the direction opposite to that of the electrons. So because electrons are moving in right to left, current will be from left to right. Okay, so current is normally always from left to right. Okay, so I have considered a conductor whose length is L, whose area is A, and I have assumed that some n number of electrons are there in the conductor. Capital N electrons are there in the conductor, and the time taken by an electron to travel a distance of L meters in the conductor, let it be T seconds. Okay, so that means for the electron to travel from one end to the another end, let us say that capital T seconds is being taken. Okay, then the total number of electrons passing through any cross section of wire in unit time is capital N by capital T. Total number of electrons that are passing, okay, per unit time is given by number of electrons per time. Time is nothing but capital T. That is what you have assumed. What is the definition of current? Current definition is the total charge per second passing any area. Total charge per second. What is total charge? Your current I is equal to total charge is individual electron means charge is Q. How many electrons are there? Capital N. So total charge is capital N into Q per second. So time is capital T. Okay. But I know that speed, drift velocity, speed is equal to distance by time, from which T I can write it as, okay, from which T I can write it as L by Vd. Okay, so that is why T is replaced with L by Vd. So I is equal to NQ Vd. Vd is drift velocity, centimeter per second. Okay, Vd is drift velocity per by length. Okay. So J is equal to what? Current density. J is equal to I by A. So NQVD by LA. Okay. So we are looking for current density from which we can get the expression for conductivity. So current density J is equal to I by A. So I we got an expression NQVD by L. So by A means into A. Okay. So NQVD by LA. Right. So J is equal to NQVD by LA. But this N by LA, what is LA? L unit is centimeter, A unit is centimeter square. So centimeter square into centimeter is centimeter cube. Centimeter cube means what? Volume. So that means capital N is number of electrons. In the denominator it is volume. So it is representing number of electrons per unit volume. Okay. Number of electrons per unit volume. Number of electrons per unit volume. Okay. So the unit is per centimeter cube. The unit is per centimeter cube. Okay. So N is equal to, yes. Is anyone would like to say? Okay. So N is, so N is number of electrons per unit volume. Okay. So J is equal to, now I can replace this capital N by LA as small n. So that small n QVD. So J is equal to NQVD. Okay. J is equal to NQVD. Right. But what is VD? My roll number 21. My 21. Okay. So J is equal to NQVD. So but VD is drift velocity. We know that what is drift velocity? Mu n into E. Okay. So NQ mu n into E. So that I have represented with a sigma E. So that what is sigma? Sigma is NQ mu n. So sigma is what is the conductivity of the metal. Unit is ohm meter inverse. Okay. So sigma is equal to what? Expression. This is what is important for us. Current density J is equal to sigma E. Okay. It acts like Ohm's law. Okay. With increase in electric field, my current density increases. Okay. And sigma is given by NQ mu n. Okay. N refers to number of electron concentration. I'll call it as electron concentration. Small n refers to electron concentration. Okay. Small n refers to electron concentration. Unit is per centimeter cube. Q is charge of the electron. Mu n is mobility of the electron. So conductivity of the metal is given by NQ mu n. Okay. NQ mu n. Is this okay? Conductivity in metal. So what is the conductivity of metal is given by sigma is equal to NQ mu n. Okay, where n is concentration of electrons per centimeter cube. Q is charge of the electron 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19 coulombs. Mu n is mobility of the electrons centimeter square per volt second. Okay, is this okay? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So similarly, if you are asked to tell what is the conductivity in semiconductor, how do you tell? Because in metals, the only charged particles are electrons, I have got an expression for NQ mu n. Okay. But in semiconductor, what are all the charged particles present?
Holes and electrons.
Very good. Very good. Holes and electrons. Okay. So, how do my conductivity equation can be changed with respect to semiconductor? NQ mu
Holes
n
and
is
electrons.
NQ mu n is same with respect to electrons, but there is another term with respect to the holes. So that means this P is called the concentration of holes, number of holes per unit volume, and Q is charge of the hole. Okay, charge of the hole or charge of the electron is same, that we will see later on. Only thing is the sign is different. And mu p refers to the mobility of the holes. Just like mobility of the electron, mu p refers to mobility of the hole. Okay, mobility stands for what? It tells that with how much ease that I can move. Okay, in a particular material. That is what is mobility. Okay. Is this okay? We are not deriving any equations. Just from the expression for conductivity of metal, because we know that semiconductor is going to have both electrons and holes, we have written the expression for conductivity as nq mu n plus pq mu p. Very important equation. Okay, in fact this is a starting equation for us to solve any of our problems. Conductivity in a semiconductor is given by nq mu n plus pq mu p. Okay, is this fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Suppose if I ask you to increase the conductivity in metal, what are the options you have? My question is increase the conductivity in your metal. Okay. So you have got expression for conductivity. What is that? N Q mu n. Okay. So do you have any possibility of increasing the conductivity in your metal?
Increase in number of electrons.
Yes, yes.
Increase in number of electrons.
We may think like that, but that it is not possible. Okay. Increasing in electrons in metal. Yes. Yes, yes. Tell me.
Increasing,
Tell me.
increasing the electric field.
Increase which velocity?
No, no, no. You look at the equation for only conductivity. Equation for only conductivity. Okay, conductivity is given by n q mu n. Q I can do nothing. N, I am telling you that we cannot increase the number of electrons because already there are ocean of electrons. Okay, already there are ocean of electrons and increase. See, if you pour some bucket of water in your ocean, there is no difference. Got my point? Already I am having 1 million electrons, and if you think that I would like to increase further, okay, so it makes not much difference. Got my point? 1 million you are having, I have given you 100. Even though you add 100 to that 1 million, there is not much difference. Okay, so trying to increase n is not a meaningful idea because already n is very large. No one can get beyond that particular n value. Okay, and q it is more or less charge of the electron, which is a constant, and a mu n, and I am saying that for a given material it is constant. So that means we don't have much possibility of increasing the conductivity, but nevertheless you will try to increase your temperature. Okay, you will try to increase the temperature. Let us say what happens if I increase the temperature for the purpose of increasing the conductivity of the metals. Okay, if someone said that okay, you increase the temperature, okay, then the conductivity may increase. So I tried. Okay, so sigma is equal to nq mu n. Okay, so with increase in temperature, oscillations of atom at lattice point increases. Normally what happens within the metal, atoms are there, so when temperature is increased, atom starts vibrating, oscillations. Okay, and when once atoms are starting oscillations, okay, vibrating, collisions between the electrons and the atoms increases. What happens if atoms are not moving, then there is no issue, but intentionally you are making the atoms to get vibrated, oscillations. Okay, that means electrons and atoms, they start colliding. Okay, that collision between electrons and atoms starts increasing. So when that is increasing, is it not that the mobility of charge particle decreases? Okay, you are moving in a particular direction, no one is in front of you, you are going very freely, very smoothly, very speed also, but suddenly some obstacle has come in front of you and your speed is going to get reduced. Yes or no? Your mobility decreases. So likewise, when there are collisions, now naturally mobility of the charge particle decreases. Okay, in the case of metal, I am saying, in the case of metal, because of these collisions of your atoms, because of oscillations of atoms, because of vibrations of atoms at the lattice point, collisions between electrons and atoms increases. That collisions between atoms and electrons decreases the mobility of the electrons, and when mobility is decreased, your conductivity is going to decrease. So hence, with increase in temperature, conductivity of metal decreases. Okay, so hence with increase in temperature, conductivity of metal decreases. So though I thought that to increase the conductivity of the metals by means of increasing temperature, but unfortunately I could not increase, instead I could reduce the conductivity. That means my resistivity has started increasing. Okay, metals are having positive temperature coefficient, positive temperature coefficient of resistivity. Okay, metals are having positive temperature coefficient of resistivity. Positive temperature coefficient of resistivity means what? When I increase the temperature, resistivity increases. Okay, or negative temperature coefficient of conductivity. That means what? When I increase the temperature, conductivity decreases. Right? Okay, so that is the problem we have with the metals. That is why we thought that okay, what is the other material that can help me in increasing the conductivity? Okay, then we brought into the picture these semiconductors, and the effect of temperature on conductivity of semiconductors is, can anyone tell that is the conductivity is going to increase or decrease with respect to semiconductors?
Up to a particular point, it will increase, sir, but after that, it decreases.
Very good. Okay. So, but nevertheless, we are able to increase the conductivity, unlike the case of metals. Okay. In the case of metals, the observation is conductivity is reducing, decreasing, undoubtedly. But in the case of semiconductors, conductivity has started increasing. Okay. Just like what one of your friends said, that it has started increasing and again it has started decreasing. So, but people thought that the other ways of increasing the conductivity, that increasing temperature is not working good for, even with respect to semiconductors. It is behaving in its own peculiar way, increasing and then decreasing. So we are not very much happy with increasing the conductivity of the semiconductors with respect to temperature. Okay, but nevertheless conductivity is going to slightly increase initially, so that is what we can claim. Again, as usual, with increase in temperature, your oscillations of atom increases, then your collision between electrons and atoms per second increases, but the resistivity does not increase. Earlier resistivity has got increased, conductivity reduced with respect to metals, but now the resistivity does not increase. Okay, so when temperature increases, the reason is electrons and holes increases. Can anyone tell me why when temperature increases, electrons and holes increases? Why electrons and holes increases?
There will be a breakage in bond
Ah,
and jumping of.
Very good. Because of the breakage of the covalent bond. Okay, because of the breakage of the covalent bond, electron hole pairs are going to be generated. That is why electrons and holes are going to increase. So when N and P are increasing, naturally we expect increase in the conductivity. So that is what we could say, that why does the conductivity of semiconductors are increasing with increase in temperature. That is not what is happening in the case of metals. So that is why in the case of metals, conductivity is decreasing. In the case of semiconductors, conductivity is increasing. Okay, so that is what is the last statement. Hence, sorry, hence with increase in temperature, conductivity of semiconductor increases. Okay, is the points are okay? What is all that we have covered so far is mobility and conductivity. Okay, mobility and conductivity. Mobility we have understood, unit we have understood, we have understood what mobility is going to tell you. Okay, we have understood conductivity, conductivity of metal, conductivity of semiconductor. What is the problem with the metal? Okay, so we cannot increase the conductivity either with increase in temperature or by any other means. When we consider the semiconductors, okay, with increase in temperature, conductivity is slightly increasing, but again with further increase in temperature, it starts decreasing. Okay, so even conductivity of the semiconductor can also cannot be dependent on the temperature. Okay, or we are not interested in controlling the conductivity by means of temperature. We are nowhere interested in controlling by means of temperature. We don't want to increase the conductivity with the help of temperature. Okay, is this okay so far? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
okay. So then we will see. We'll continue with intrinsic and extrinsic semiconductors. Okay, we'll continue with intrinsic and extrinsic semiconductor. Intrinsic semiconductor, you might have already studied in your +2 also. What is the definition you might have learned?
Pure semiconductor.
Pure semiconductor. But before we proceed for what is intrinsic semiconductor, I have a question. What is the question is, at a T is equal to 0 degrees Kelvin, that means at 0 degrees temperature, why semiconductor acts as an insulator?
No
Mobility zero,
electrons are
sir.
available.
No electrons are available in conduction band. You have to mention that conduction band, okay? Because electrons are available in valence band, right? We should show some clarity that no electrons are in the conduction band. So that is why no conductivity. Why why no electrons in the conduction band? Because the electrons already in the valence band, they are engaged in their covalent bond formation and they are not ready to come from valence band to the conduction band, because no energy is given either in terms of your electric field or in terms of your temperature. No energy is given. So when there is no energy to the electrons in the valence band, they cannot jump from valence band to the conduction band. So no conductivity. So that is why Semiconductor acts as an insulator even at T is equal to 0 degrees Kelvin. So the same is written here. No charge carriers are present in your conduction band. Valence band is filled with electrons which are tightly bound to the nucleus, and hence semiconductor acts as an insulator at T is equal to 0 degrees Kelvin. Fine, very good. Now let us see here. Okay, so this is a silicon. Okay, this is a silicon. So it is shown here silicon atoms. Okay, it is shown here one hole also, because this absence of electron in the covalent bond is what is hole, and it is represented with a plus sign. And because this electron has come out and it has become a free electron, okay, and this dotted lines are representing your broken covalent bond, and this is a normal covalent bond, unbroken covalent bond, and these are representing your valence electrons, and this is representing your free electron. Is this okay? We have already learned this, right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So definition of intrinsic semiconductor is a perfect semiconductor crystal with no impurities or lattice defects. Okay, is called an intrinsic semiconductor. Okay, whatever you said is same is the case. So in an intrinsic semiconductor, okay, in an intrinsic semiconductor, how do I know that it is an intrinsic semiconductor? I cannot tell that, okay, this is the definition. Then how do I know? You are being given a semiconductor and you are asked to tell that whether it is intrinsic semiconductor or not. What you are going to do? Are you going to look at your definition? You look at your definition, what it tells? Nothing. Okay. So what I have to do? I have to look for what? I have to look into what in my material. I have to look into what in my material is. I have to verify whether my number of electrons is same as number of holes or not. Okay. So what is one of the property of an intrinsic semiconductor is number of electrons is equal to number of holes. Okay. Number of electrons means what type of electrons here? Free electrons or valence electrons? Here electrons refers to free electrons or valence electrons?
Free electrons.
Free electrons, very good. Okay, so number of electrons is equal to number of holes. Okay, so that is what is intrinsic semiconductor. So in intrinsic semiconductor, the purest form of semiconductor, there are charge particles. What type of charge particles? Electrons and holes. And how do they are getting generated? They are getting generated in pairs only. So as many number of free electrons are there, that many number of holes are there. Okay, only in an intrinsic semiconductor. Okay, so in an intrinsic semiconductor, there are charge particles, both electrons and holes, but both are equal in number. That is what is the point. And these electrons and holes, they are equal to some number, what is called as intrinsic carrier concentration. Okay, so these electrons and holes of an intrinsic semiconductor, they are equal to some number, what is called as intrinsic carrier concentration. Okay, intrinsic carrier concentration, that means in an intrinsic semiconductor, the carrier concentration you find is what is an intrinsic carrier concentration. Okay, for a silicon, it is roughly 1.5 into 10 to the power of 10 per centimeter cube. Are you able to get my point? In a silicon, intrinsic carrier concentration, that means what? You have done nothing. Okay, the purest form you have taken, there are charge particles, number of holes is equal to number of electrons. How many? 1.5 into 10 to the power of 10 per centimeter cube. Okay, so that is what is written here. Unit is per centimeter cube. Okay, so what is the intrinsic carrier concentration of silicon? 1.5 into 10 to the power of 10. Okay, 1.5 into 10 to the power of 10. So that means how many electrons are there in your intrinsic semiconductor silicon? How many electrons are there? Free electrons. In an intrinsic semiconductor silicon, how many free electrons are there?
4.
Free electrons. Free electrons, not valence electrons. Valence electrons are 4 in an atom, and if I consider the total number of atoms, 5 into 10 to the power of 22, that is okay. Okay, free electrons in an intrinsic semiconductor.
1.
How much? See, free electrons in an intrinsic semiconductor, N is equal to number of holes in an intrinsic semiconductor, P is equal to Ni. Ni is the intrinsic carrier concentration. So that is given as 1.5 into 10 to the power of 10 per centimeter cube. That means how many free electrons are there in the intrinsic semiconductor silicon?
1.5 into 10 to the power of 10.
1.5 into 10 to the power of 10 free electrons are there. How many holes are there?
1.5 into 10.
1.5 into 10 to the power of 10. Okay. So this is the property. This is how I am going to identify whether it is an intrinsic semiconductor or not. Okay. Right. So this is a constant. Okay. This is a constant for a given material, and it depends on, it's something like this. Okay. The intrinsic carrier concentration you can calculate. If I give you a material to you, you can calculate how much is the intrinsic carrier concentration. Okay. So intrinsic carrier concentration is given by B, some constant, into T power 3 by 2. Okay. Into E power minus Eg by 2 kT. Okay. So what is this Eg is?
Energy
Eg,
band gap.
energy band gap. Capital T,
Temperature.
temperature. So your intrinsic carrier concentration is dependent on two important parameters. One is
Temperature and energy band gap.
Energy band gap
temperature and
temperature.
energy band gap. Okay, very important. So with increase in temperature, what happens to your intrinsic carrier concentration?
Increases.
Increases, because more covalent bonds will be broken up and more electron hole pairs generates, and Ni increases. So it is expected. And with increase in energy band gap, what happens to your intrinsic carrier concentration?
Decreases.
Decreases. Okay. So with increase in energy band gap, intrinsic carrier concentration decreases, and with increase in temperature, intrinsic carrier concentration increases. Okay. Right. Okay. So now let us see, as we have told that the charge particles available in semiconductor are not only free electrons but also holes. Okay. But also holes. Hole means what?
Absence of electrons.
Electron
in covalent band.
Yeah, absence of electron in a covalent bond is what is the hole. Okay. So this hole is also contributing as a charge carrier. That means due to the holes also we will get the current. Okay. Due to the holes also we will get the current. Let us see. Let us try to understand carefully how holes are able to give the current. Okay. If hole is not able to give the current, then why it is being called as a charge particle? No use. Okay. So but because hole is also being acting as a charge carrier, we are saying that two charge particles are responsible for current conduction in a semiconductor, electrons and holes. Okay. Let us understand how hole acts as a carrier transport. Okay. So this diagram we have already seen. So there is an electron that is already here, has come out here, and it has become free electron, and this vacancy, okay, this empty site in your covalent bond or absence of electron in the covalent bond, I am representing with a hole. So a hole and an electron is being created. How it is being created, you have understood. Yes or no? This is very important for understanding how hole acts as a charge carrier. Okay. Is this understood to every one of you? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now try to observe carefully what is happening. Okay. Now what I am trying to do is I am applying an electric field. Okay. So positive terminal here, negative terminal here, so that my electric field will be from positive to the negative terminal. Okay. Just for it is not that in this particular form I will be applying, but okay. Okay. Right. So then let us see what happens. Okay. Then what happens? What you are observed here? See, observe carefully again. Observe with respect to my mouse. What happened?
Another free electron is
coming up. So whatever the electron that is already involved in this covalent bonding has come out, and now this has become a free electron. Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes.
So this particular absence of electron, I am calling it as a hole, and I am representing with plus sign, right? And I am representing with plus sign. Okay. Earlier here hole is not there. Now hole is here. Okay. Right. Again observe carefully. Now what happened? This particular electron has occupied this empty state. Yes or no? Hole means what? There is nothing. Yes or no? Absence of electron you are telling. That means there is a space so that another electron can occupy there. So this electron, earlier my electron is here. Okay, there is nothing here. Plus sign means there is absence of electron. Nothing is there. Okay, this electron is coming and jumping here. Okay, this electron is coming and jumping here. So that means the electron is filled with new electron now. Here no more hole, but this hole has come over here. Got my point? Earlier my hole is here. Now my hole has moved from here to here. Okay. But when does my hole has moved from here to here? Only when my valence electron which is present here has moved from here to here. Yes or no? When my valence electron is moving, okay, when my valence electron is moving from its place to the available empty space, then the hole is also moving in the opposite direction of the valence electron. Did you get my point? So that means valence electrons are contributing because of the presence of these holes or vacancy sites. Okay, I'll describe here. See, look at here. Let us consider that there are some 9 valence electrons. There are some 9 valence electrons. Okay, there are some 9 valence electrons. Let us assume that valence electron in 6th position has become free electron. Okay, when valence electron is coming out means what? It has become free electron. Is this okay? So that means hole has been created in which position? Hole has been created 6th position. Okay, so now because there is a vacancy, because there is a possibility of my electron present in any of the other positions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, they can come and occupy this particular vacant site 6. Yes or no? Okay, as there is a vacancy available at position number 6, okay, all the other electrons, okay, depending upon their energy, they can jump onto this particular vacancy site. For example, valence electron present in the position 5, if tries to move to the position 6, what happens? The hole earlier it is in the position 6, now it has moved to position 5, and when it has moved from 6 to 5, only when the valence electron that is in the 5 has moved from 5 to 6 position. Is this okay? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So hole is moving means, in other words, valence electron is moving. Okay, and why valence electron is able to move? There is a space, there is an empty site, there is a vacancy site, so that it can go and occupy. Suppose if everything is occupied, can the valence electrons can move? No. Okay,
No,
but
sir.
when there is a vacancy site, now there are possibilities for whichever the electron can go and occupy this particular vacancy site, so that my hole can move from 6th position to 5th position. Okay, assume that suppose my valence electron in 4 is moving on to the 5. Okay, then what happens? My hole earlier it is in 5, now it has moved to 4. Again earlier it is in 4, now it has moved to 3. Again earlier it is in 3, now it has moved to 2. So that means my hole is moving from position 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Only because of my valence electrons are moving in the opposite direction, that is from 5 to 6, 4 to 5, 3 to 4 and 2 to 3. So what is our understanding? Our understanding is hole is going to move in a direction opposite to that of the movement of the valence electron. Here I am making a point that the whole movement is not due to the free electron movement, the whole movement is due to the movement of the valence electron. That means valence electrons are also contributing current to your material. That is what is the point here. Okay, valence electrons are called as bound electrons because they are bound in their covalent bonds. Okay, they are bound to the nucleus. Okay, so these valence electrons are able to contribute to the current conduction. How they are able to contribute? Because there are availability of spaces, availability of vacancies, availability of holes. Okay, because holes are there, valence electrons are going and moving to the holes. When valence electrons are moving, in other words, holes are moving. So hole movement is opposite to that of the valence electrons movement. Okay, valence electrons movement. Okay, right? So Understood, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the absence of an electron in covalent bond is called hole. Okay, the absence of an electron in a covalent bond is called hole. The current in semiconductor is not only due to free electrons in conduction band, but also due to valence electrons in valence band. So valence electrons are also contributing. How they are contributing? If one of the valence electron is going away from its original place, then a hole has been created, so that the valence electrons that are present in the valence band itself can occupy this particular vacancy, so that hole is going to move in the valence band only. Hole is moving means it is, in other words, valence electrons are moving. As electrons are moving, it is also contributing to the current. Okay. So the electrons already in the bonding process can participate in conduction because of the presence of vacancies or holes. Because holes are there, because vacancies are there. Okay, these valence electrons are able to move and occupy those vacancies, so that hole is moving. So hole movement is opposite to that of the valence electron movement. Okay, so the bound electrons tend to move through vacancies and contribute to current. Okay, so the hole effectively moves in the direction opposite to that of electron. But what electron? Which electron?
Valence
Valence
electron.
Valence
electron.
electron. Okay, so hole movement is, in other words, opposite to the valence electron. Okay, not belonging to free electron. Now I have a question. Okay, we'll stop here because we are running out of time. I'll stop here with the last one question. What happens if a free electron again comes and occupy the hole? What happens if a free electron again comes and occupy a hole?
No movement of valence electrons.
See, look at the slide. This free electron, for example, has come and occupy this particular thing. Then what happens?
No movement of valence electron.
Earlier there is nothing here. That is why you are calling it as hole. But now this particular electron has come and occupied here. That means it can, this particular electron is no more called as free electron. Now it is called as valence electron. And because of that, there is no hole. That means what? Free electron has gone. Hole also has gone. Yes or no? Disappearing of free electron and hole can take place when a free electron is combined with a hole. Okay, hole means what? Vacancy. That vacancy is occupied by free electron, not valence electron. Please do understand. Okay, you have already understood the difference between free electron and valence electron. If a free electron is coming and occupying the hole, both electron and hole, they disappear, they annihilate.